David Whiteman, and I'd very much like to welcome you to the Australian Academy of Health and Medical Sciences Clinical Sciences Symposium for 2022. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today, recognising that we're actually gathering from right around the country. Where I am here is the land of the Turrbal and Yagara peoples, and they are the traditional custodians, and we recognise that they have been practicing science and medicine as the nation's first scientists for millennia, and we recognise their elders past, present and emerging. Today we're here to celebrate achievements in medical research and clinical research and science. As I said, my name's David Whiteman. I'm based at the QIMR Berghofer Institute in Brisbane, and it's my great privilege to be the chair of the Queensland chapter of the Australian Academy. And what we thought we'd do briefly in today's program is just give you a little oversight about the Academy. So hopefully my slides are presenting for you now. And so I just want to tell you a little bit about the Academy before we move into today's program. The Academy of Health and Medical Sciences is one of several academies in Australia. It's our impartial, authoritative, cross-sector voice for health and medical science in Australia. We're an independent body of more than 450 eminent, distinguished scientists and clinicians who've been elected by their peers for their distinguished achievements. And you're going to hear from some of those people today. But what we have is the power of that authority, and we are uniquely positioned to convene these stakeholders from across Australia, and we use that talent within the Academy to address some of the most pressing challenges facing Australian society. Our purpose is pretty simple. We want to advance health and medical research in Australia and translate that research into benefits for all. We do that by fostering leadership within our sector. We provide expert advice to decision makers, and we engage patients and the public. And our vision is for a future in which health and medical science drives sustained improvement in the health of the Australian and global community. And I think day by day, we really strive to achieve that. There are four main areas in which the Academy seeks to achieve its vision. We do that through influencing policy. We do it by celebrating excellence. That is, we award and recognise our distinguished peers in Australia through their fellowship, but also through prizes that we give out to our up-and-coming researchers. We nurture talented research leaders, and really today is all about that step of spreading the word and ensuring that Australia's most talented research leaders are enthused, inspired and encouraged to be part of this great enterprise. And we also support Indigenous health and wellbeing. Just a few examples of recent activities. It's escaped no one's notice that for the past 2 years, there's been a great pressing need for expert health advice, well-informed, timely, calmly delivered health advice. And the Academy, luckily, fortunately, has a great repository of expertise in the area of infectious diseases, modelling, public health, and that talent was able to provide calm, authoritative advice to the Commonwealth and state governments through that pandemic. We're also active in the area of climate change and health. A statement, it will shortly be released. I think it's coming out on the 7th of April. You're encouraged through the link there to take part in that online launch of our climate change and health policy. We also run these Life as a Clinician Scientist fora several times a year in different Australian capital cities. And today you'll see that that's all about fostering our emerging research talent. And we also provide mentorship to our up-and-coming health and medical research leaders. So after today's event, I would encourage you to visit our website. You can please keep in touch with what we do through various channels, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. And you can subscribe to the Academy newsletter as well and be kept abreast of latest developments in our field. Today could not take part without the support of our sponsors who help in so many different ways for us to be able to carry off an event like this. So the University of Queensland, Griffith University, Menzies Health Institute, QIMR Berghofer, and the Translational Research Institute. And we thank each and every one of them. So we have a exciting program today. Unfortunately, this year it's completely online. We obviously would prefer that we were meeting in person, but with the situation as it was during the time that we were planning this, online is going to work best. So our first session this morning, two great speakers, the making of a clinician scientist, stories from my life as a clinician scientist. So we'll have Professor Ranjani Thomas and Professor Sailesh Kumar, and they'll be speaking shortly. In our second session, between morning tea and lunch, stories of the science. So we'll be hearing from Professor Paul Young, Professor Pamela McComb, and Professor David Reutens. Then coming back after lunch in session 3, Associate Professor Lauren Ball and Professor Frank Gannon will be teaching and explaining the skills that they have found make for great clinician scientists. And then we close out the day with a panel discussion, the making of a clinician scientist. And this is an opportunity for you as the audience to engage. So please use the Slido platform to send your questions through. And Isaac and I will do our very, very best to keep on top of those questions so that we can pepper them to the panel. And that goes for the earlier presentations in the day as well. So I think I've covered most of the program here. We can turn the slides off to me on screen. Before I introduce our first speaker, I just briefly want to introduce my co-chair for today, Isaac Carmichael, who many of you will know personally. Isaac is a pharmacy graduate with an expertise and major in experimental therapeutics, MD, PhD program. So he's obviously a busy chap, and he speaks with first-hand knowledge of what it's like to blend medicine and research. So I'll just quickly allow Isaac to introduce himself on screen.
Thanks there, David. Yeah, so thanks everyone for coming today. Like David was saying, my name is Isaac. My main area of research is in advanced dosage form designs, looking at blood-brain barrier delivery of medications as well as the retinal delivery of medications as well. I was just wanting to say that thank you really to the researchers and speakers who are presenting today, because these are actually quite a number of people who I actually personally look up to, who have actually taught me throughout medicine at different stages as well. And like David was saying, we'll be looking after any questions as well as we can. And I think that's enough from me.
Thank you, Isaac. So there you are, in a nutshell, a very brief overview of the Academy and today's program.